Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
Welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. But for our radio audience here in Mississippi at WYAD 94.1 FM and WYADonline.com, we're glad that you all could be with us. Also, tuning in to our friends at iHeartRadio and Amazon Music Podcast. We're glad you all could be with us as well. This is part of our News You Can Use segment here at WYAD, and today we're talking about COVID. I know we've been talking a lot about COVID the past couple of years, but I think we've seen in my home state of Mississippi, as well as around the country, that there has been an increase in COVID cases and even hospitalizations in some places. Some people may be wondering, though, is it still necessary to get the vaccine? You know, if you're around people who are vaccinated the majority of the time, do you need to be vaccinated? Or even if you've already had COVID, does it matter if you get the vaccine or not? Well, we're excited to welcome back Dr. Jaime Wagner to our program today. She's going to talk to you guys about the importance not only of knowing about the vaccines, but also what it can do to help you, even if you had COVID already. Dr. Wagner, thank you again for the time. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Cyrus, for inviting me back. It's great to be here again.
Yeah, this is, we've been talking about this now for a while, Dr. Wagner, so of course this is not a new topic for our audience, but as we have kind of gone through these things, right, last year we thought, the worst was behind us. We were returning the page on COVID, and now we're seeing, of course, the cases going up again. What do the high number of COVID cases tell us about where we are now when it comes to the pandemic?
Cyrus, that's actually a really good question. And like you said, it just seems like everything is still dominated by COVID, and we can't just seem to escape it right now. But, I think one thing to keep in mind is that, the virus doesn't want to go away. And so as we continue to be around each other and have still a good chunk of the population, especially in Mississippi, not be vaccinated, it just makes it easier for the virus to spread. And as the virus keeps spreading, it keeps mutating to try to stay alive. And so that's kind of where we're at right now, is this Omicron variant that is currently the prevalent strain across the entire U.S. It's very, very, very highly transmissible, meaning that it only takes a little bit of the virus to be able to go from one person to the next, versus some of our earlier variants, like the alpha and the beta. It was a little bit harder for that to transmit over to somebody. And so the virus is just making itself a lot more transmissible now.
Dr. Wagner, does it surprise you that with all the information we have out there, especially here in our home state of Mississippi, does it surprise you that people are still hesitant to get the vaccine?
Honestly, it does. And really, quite frankly, I understand everybody, it's their own choice and stuff. For me personally, it's really more about, it's not you, it's the person next to you or that person's family, and starting to care about other people around you. And if you don't want to give the vaccine, that's your body, your choice. But at the same token, if that's your body, your choice, then consider what your actions are going to do to the person next to you. And so just being a little more cognizant, like if that means you have to wear a mask, then please wear a mask to protect others. And even if you've been vaccinated or you've had COVID, continue to wear a mask indoors. Like if you look at the latest numbers in our state specifically, almost half of our counties still have high transmission rates. Specifically, even in Hinds County, in the Jackson area, that's a high community transmission rate right now. And so we really need to be cognizant of that. If you haven't been vaccinated, there's also a new vaccine. So the Novavax vaccine was recently approved by the FDA. And so that one is not an mRNA-based technology. That's actually the same technology we use for the hepatitis B virus. And so if people are still wary about that mRNA technology that's in Pfizer and Moderna, they can always get the Novavax vaccine instead, which is the same technology as vaccines that we've used for several decades.
Yeah. And I think with that, you just mentioned something interesting, and it's something that I've heard too. People think, well, why should I get vaccinated? It seems like, we've had even, people in the highest of office, the president even, being vaccinated and boosted, still getting COVID. So what do you say to people who say, why should I get vaccinated if I can still get COVID?
Yes. Honestly, for me, the scariest part of COVID is not necessarily the acute infection, but it's the long COVID. It's the COVID that we cannot fully cure once you have the disease. We don't know who's going to develop long COVID. We don't know how long COVID lasts. I have a personal friend of mine who's still dealing with it 3 years later. And so all we can do is manage symptoms. And so you are more likely to experience long COVID if you are not vaccinated. And some of those things that you get from long COVID is just chronic fatigue, chronic shortness of breath, always being tired. It's that kind of thing that just, to me, is more debilitating than the immediate infection. At the same time, it's not just, a normal flu or a normal thing. Like, COVID can really knock some people down and out, and we don't know who those people are going to be exactly. But if you're vaccinated before you get the virus, then you're less likely to end up in the hospital. You're less likely to end up with long COVID. You're less likely to die than if you try to just take on the virus yourself. And I think that's the bigger key of it, is the vaccine just offers you overall better protection and better outcomes if you do that versus trying to take your chances with the virus.
One thing people talk about, though, are the side effects and the unknown. Then, Dr. Wagner, how do the dangers of getting COVID, and you just shared a bit of that, but how do the dangers kind of compare to the side effects that we hear about that some people experience with the vaccine?
Yeah, I think that the thing to keep in mind truly is if everybody were to read the package insert of all of the side effects of every single medication on the market, every single vaccine on the market, nobody would take anything. Okay, so let's be real about that. But if you want to think about it this way, like, people who are vaccinated are not getting hospitalized for the side effects. People who are getting vaccinated are not dying from the vaccine. They're dying from the virus side effects and from the virus, itself causing them to expire. And so in that, mindset, you're like, okay, well, I can deal with a sore arm or not feeling well for 24 hours, and then you're bouncing right back and ready to go. And 2 weeks later, you're vaccinated, like your immune system's up, ready to go, fully primed to tackle the virus if you're exposed to it, versus you get that virus and you could be down and out for months in the hospital based on the side effects from it. And so I think it's just putting that into perspective of, if I can put up with this for 24 hours at most, then that's a lot better than dealing with it for days and weeks and months on end.
Such great information, Dr. Wagner, and I really appreciate you being able to share this and really showing the importance then of our audience getting vaccinated. And as you mentioned, if not for yourself, to be able to help others, especially when it comes to our family and friends. Again, everyone, Dr. Jaime Wagner has been our guest, Clinical Associate Professor of Pharmacy Practice at the University of Mississippi School of Pharmacy in my home state of Mississippi. Dr. Wagner, looking forward to having you back on the program again.
Yes, thanks, Cyrus, so much. I hope you have a wonderful day today.
Hey, you as well. And I want to invite our audience to go to vaccines.gov for more information. Again, it's vaccines.gov for more information as well. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying, as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live. Now let's go make today amazing. Take care.